He is a god of the game.
It's 1600s all again. England versus the world. Is it coming home or is it already home? Italy and Spain meet at the knockouts again. Belgium's golden generation fails to get the gold again. Messi doing messy things again. Okay, I will stop. But the spirited Denmark team may not stop. Also, does anyone think Gabriel Jesus was trained by Mr. Miyagi?
Absolutely world class.
And then there were four. Yes, guys, we are inching towards the end of what has been a fantastic tournament so far. There is no France, no Portugal, no Belgium, not even the dark horses like Turkey, Wales, etc. But as usual, we have our friend Eeshaan with us right now.
Hi guys, hi Bala. Hope everything's fine. Let's get into it.
Great. Just before getting into it, quick question. Is this the best international tournament so far that you have seen?
It's close. I remember the World Cup in South Africa being really good. It was some great matches there, some dramatic matches in the knockout phase as well. But I think this is one of the best Euros I've seen. Euro 2000 was great. But, just in terms of the storylines this Euros has had, just about, one team when I remember when the Euros were starting, both of us were like going crazy about how France, there's nobody to beat France. And here we are, as you said, in the top four and France is not in the conversation. So that's what I love about international football. Great matches, great stories. So I think it's one of the best, definitely.
Cool. So we'll start with the first semi-finalist, Italy versus Spain. I mean, there's a lot of history between these two teams. I mean, especially Euros history. This is the fifth time these two teams are playing in 4 Euros. Since 2008, this is the fifth time. And Spain has won 2. One was a draw and Italy won 1, which is the last one, 2016 one. And I was looking at the 2008 highlights just to see how that game went. Chiellini is the only player in that entire starting lineup who's still active, who's still actively playing. Few of them have become coaches from that lineup.
Wow. But I think this is the first time where both teams are completely in parallel to their reputational styles. I think Italy is not the Italy we know in terms of how they play, and so is Spain. So I think it will be refreshing. But yeah, these are two European heavyweights. One obviously who has history on its line in terms of trophies, and Spain obviously in the last decade or two have been dominant. So I mean, amazing tie. But yeah, what do you think is going to happen?
I mean, it's very tough to predict right now, but yeah, as per what we have seen so far in terms of their style of play and form, Italy definitely are the favorites. But for those listeners who are suddenly wondering what's happening, why we are not talking about the quarterfinal games, this is how we are going to do this episode. So we're going to start with Italy and we'll talk about Italy's journey quickly, including the last quarterfinals game. So far, what I have seen about Italy is they have been easily the form team in the tournament. We can say they are the best team, the best they have played so far. And definitely momentum is with them. And their bench has shown a lot of promise. Like you have players like Chiesa, Locatelli, Pessina, all making a lot of difference. Donnarumma has had challenges and have made some spectacular changes. And I believe they'll be slightly fresher than Spain because Spain, remember, they've played 2 120-minute games continuously back to back. So Italian players are much better, fresher. They played lesser minutes compared to Spain. So I would say Italy have been brilliant, and especially they came across a very tough Belgium side who were considered to be one of the favorites. So that is really a great plus for Italy because they have gone through that phase of playing a tournament favorite and going ahead.
I think one key factor which might decide the match is Spinazzola's injury. He has been by far one of Italy's rising stars of the tournament, and the value he brings to the dynamism of Italy's attack has been one of the key differences in setting Italy apart this tournament. Losing him really sadly, like I was gutted for the guy. Losing him in the last game, obviously it's a long-term injuries for you. Those who don't know, he just had an operation today. That's going to be a big miss for him. Yes, you're right. There've been other players for them who've been firing. Lorenzo Insigne, man, what a player he is. And he's really turning on the style for Italy right now. And they've got a really solid bench. But what Spinazzola added in terms of attack from the left hand side and also being solid defensively is going to be a gap which might be tough, because for those of you who don't know, Florenzi was the original starter in the squad, and Florenzi himself got injured, and that's how Spinazzola came. So they're going to be short in options in that area. But when you come to Spain, I would say don't judge them by the 120 minutes in two games, because the football they've played has been brilliant. Like, I think when the tournament started off, I think both of us were like, oh, this is going to be really embarrassing. This is going to be the final nail in the coffin for Luis Enrique. And they've really turned on the style. Pedri, and I think we were joking about this, has not missed a single minute, single breath for Spain in this Euros. But I think you're right. Fatigue will play a factor, because you've got Busquets in the center of midfield, and he just turned 70 last week. And it's going to be tough for him to, keep the energy levels up. So in that way, it's going to be a level playing field, because it's going to be one major player missing for Italy versus a fatigued Spanish side.
See, for me, Spain is probably I would say, the weakest out of the four teams in the semi-final lineup. I mean, it's a little unfair to say that to a team who has reached the top four. My only problem with Spain is they are unpredictable. Like, they will have two games scoring 5 goals continuously, and then the next game they struggle to score a goal even after playing 120 minutes. So,
Bala, if you call Spain unpredictable, what do you call England?
Well, see, that's the same thing. We'll get to England when we get to England. But England has grown. Okay, I'll talk about England later when we cover England. But talking about
I'll ask you this question again when we talk about
cool.
England.
But yeah, talking about Spain. See, this is where, as I said, that my problem is, like, you will have players who are hot and cold. Like, Morata had a brilliant game against Croatia, but didn't have a convincing game against Switzerland, and he got subbed off. Moreno came in, looked very out of sorts. Spain scored a goal out of a deflection, yet another own goal in this tournament. And that's where I have a problem with Spain. I can't predict. I mean, yes, they can be the team that played so brilliantly and scored 10 goals in 2 games, or they can be a team who can bore you to death. So that's where my problem with Spain.
Yeah, and I think you're right about Luis Enrique, as we reach the semi-finals, is still not figured out who his starting forwards are.
Exactly.
If you look at the last game, he played Pablo Sarabia. He played a good game, and then both of us have been fans of Gerard Moreno, and he had an absolute shocker against Switzerland, meaning he couldn't get a single shot connected properly. And then you have got Oyarzabal, who comes in and always puts in an effort. Like, he's been scoring clutch goals for them. He scored the crucial penalty as well. I think Luis Enrique has some work to do in terms of figuring out what type of attack he wants to put out on the pitch against Italy, because you're talking about one of the best defenses in the tournament right now, right? Obviously, England have not conceded, but the Italian defense is still solid. So it's going to be interesting as to what strategy he goes, because the midfield is pretty set. We know who's going to be playing in the midfield for Spain, right? You're going to have Pedri and Busquets. You'll probably get a bit of Rodri or Thiago. I don't know. He might go with Thiago as well. You don't know about that, but forward line is the concern for them.
All right. So I think it's going to be a great game. And again, history plays a major part as well, especially in this fixture, especially in Euros. So we'll expect a great game. Quick prediction. Quick favorites prediction.
Italy 3-1.
Okay. I'm going to go Italy 2-1. Great. So since we talked about England, so let's go to England right now. How England has done so far well. See, my point with England is they have grown into this tournament. They had that first 1-0, and then they had a troublesome 0-0 with Scotland, but they came over it and defeated a very strong, at that point of time, an informed Czech team. And then the way they played against Germany, and especially the way they played their quarterfinal games against Ukraine. I mean, you could not have had a better game ever. If you are an English fan, an England football fan, you would have never expected a game to go as good as it did. Everything went their way.
Yeah.
And that's why I have a feeling that England are slightly ahead of Italy in terms of overall favorites.
I agree, and but I would actually, I was quite upset with how Ukraine played against England, and we'll talk about that when we talk about the reviews. But if you see the goals, right, England scored 4, out of which 3 were headers to an unmarked player. They, other than the Kane goal, which was a brilliant through ball by Sterling in the first goal, all of the other goals, Maguire, Kane, and then Henderson, were, in our language, pappu goals. Like, right in front of the goal, not too much distance, nobody marking you, and a free header. So, yeah, I think the result was well deserved, but I think England would have, preferred a tougher opposition. Would have probably preferred Germany in a quarter finals instead of a round of 16 and Ukraine, basically reversing it. So, I agree with you. They are the favorites. If right now I had to put England versus Italy in a finals, I would say England have a better chance. But anything can happen, and especially with we'll talk about Denmark right now. Like, they won the world over. How long can this storyline go? England have that to deal with as well, because they're gonna, literally, the world will be supporting one country against them.
Yeah, exactly. It's England against world, definitely.
Yeah. But I want to talk specifically about how massive, immense Raheem Sterling has been for England. And it is like, if it's not goal scoring, assists, he has just been their talisman. And we never expected that out of a Raheem Sterling as a personality, right? He was always this weak, fledgling, quick winger, but now he's grown into something of another level.
Oh yeah, he's brilliant, dude. And especially the way he came into this tournament. He didn't have a great season with Manchester City. In fact, he wasn't the starter for Manchester City towards the end. In fact, a lot of people blame Pep for starting him in the finals in the first place. So anyway, point is, he came into the tournament in a really bad form. A lot of people question Southgate for picking him ahead of Grealish, and obviously there was this whole pro Grealish going on in England at that point of time. But he has silenced everyone, and not just he has silenced everyone. More importantly, Gareth Southgate has silenced everyone. Like, I've been following this English podcast and English media very closely. Like, one common sentiment that I feel across all the platforms that I listen to, all the different types of media that I follow, that they haven't been this positive, this optimistic for a very, very long time. They weren't this optimistic even when England reached 2018 World Cup. At that point of time, they were like, this is good. We have reached semi-final, it is good. But I haven't seen English press being this optimistic about an England squad and England manager ever. Anyways, talking about England, we know that they are up against, as you rightly pointed out, an absolutely, like, a team in absolute spirits right now. It's like they can just go out and win a war all by themselves. They are so much pumped. There's so much heart they have. They have a team full of leaders. There's a lot of good story in this. But to me, that is where it ends with Denmark. When it comes to talent on field, on that moment, you expect English players to execute it better than the Denmark players. I think that's the small area where England has an edge. But if England go one behind in front of their home crowd at Wembley, we don't know how they will react. Now, this can completely turn around. They can go ballistic, and we know English crowd when they are the most, oh god, they can do both ways. They can pull you both ways. If it's positive, they can pull you towards a positive. If it's negative, they can pull you towards negative. So it's going to be a fascinating.
And I think, if you look at, and you're right about the English fans, right? They're brutal in their analysis, and I feel for them, and I'm saying the ground level fans, like the guys who are going to be at the stadium, on the streets, etc. This is literally the best chance they've had in a while. Denmark, if in the start of a tournament I would say, do you want Denmark in a semi-finals? I would close my eyes and take it. right? Like, ignore the storylines, ignore how well Denmark has played. If I had given you saying, hey, I'm going to give you Denmark in the semi-finals, every single major team would take it. So for the fans, and for the players, this is that pressure. You are almost now obligated to win this game, right? So if, as you rightly said, Denmark take an early lead, the pressure on the players, just in terms of expectations, will go back to how it's always been for England. And I feel this time is going to be different because, and I hate saying this, I've never been a Gareth Southgate fan, but for the first time, we've seen England coming into an international tournament as a unit.
Yeah.
Like, they're a proper unit. Like, the world has been saying, play Jadon Sancho, play Jack Grealish. He has just continued on his own format. He said, you want the result, I'm giving you the result. And that takes balls, right? Especially if you're the manager of England, right? And he's continued doing that. And I think this is where England are different this time. So I still feel England will be, as you said, on paper, just too strong for Denmark. But who knows? Fairy tales can happen.
Yeah. Just a quick word on that assist for the second goal from Joaquim Male. That is a thing of a beauty, man. That should be one of the goals of a tournament for the assist alone. Was a beautiful.
Yeah, that's true.
I was watching it like,
what a quarter final they played.
Yeah.
What beautiful football they played in the game. It was beautiful to watch, but I hope it continues. For me, the romantic in heart, I would want to see Denmark in a final. But then you're going up against Spain or Italy, so it's not going to get easier for them anyway. So I just hope they play a great game. They give England a fight, and it has that kind of a semi-final feel to it. That's all I want.
Good. All right. Just before wrapping up Euros semi-finals reviews, op reviews, whatever you call it, a quick word on Belgium failing again on the big stage, or they were just up against a really good Italian team.
The Belgium team reminds me of the South African cricket team.
Yeah.
Like, golden generation come and pass. They choke when they should not be choking. Though I would say that they choked that game. Like, the first half they played against Italy, they got the penalty at the end just before the first half whistle blew, and I think that was just being lenient because they didn't deserve that goal the way they played in that first half. Italy was just like running all over them, and in the second half I was a little disappointed with their attitude, right? Like, everything was obviously reliant on Kevin De Bruyne, who was not 100%. But other than that, Nasser Chadli had unfortunately came on and got injured in the first 2 minutes. Obviously, the dice didn't roll their way, but they didn't have too many clear-cut chances. If you look at the highlights, the close chances in the second half also came to Italy. So they choked. Let's not mince our words. They choked. They should not have gone out this way. They're the number one team in the world according to FIFA rankings.
Yeah.
So anything which is not a victory is a choke. So they will be disappointed, but they still have time, man. Look at them. We say this golden generation, all of their best players still have age on their side.
Yeah.
So yeah, they really need to revamp their defense. Like, the three people they have in defense are all on the verge or should be retiring right now. So that's a concern for the future, but they'll come back. They'll come back in the World Cup.
Yeah, that's good. So that's good for Belgium. Again, a quick word for all the other teams that lost: Czech Republic, Ukraine, and Switzerland. All the best. You did well, but yeah, unfortunately, you lost to a better team. Just a couple of quick pointers. One thing that connects all these four teams, that is, all these four teams played all their group games at home. That's number one. And,
Oh, wow.
Chelsea has a player in all these four teams. So that means we will have yet another year where we'll have someone who has won both Champions League and an international tournament in the same year.
Wasn't the last one Sami Khedira?
No, 2018, Rafael Varane. And 2016, Ronaldo himself, Pepe. 2014 was Khedira.
And then the Germany World Cup,
Khedira. Usse pehle Mata and Torres. Also, hey, one more thing. Oh, just realized.
Who was the
Chelsea played in three
Well-
Champions League finals: 2008, 2012, and 2021.
Yeah.
8 and 12, Spain won.
Oh my day.
You heard it here, guys. You heard it here first.
But who's the Chelsea player in Denmark?
Christensen.
Christensen.
Yes.
Yes, Christensen.
Good, no? Yeah, Chelsea.
Oh wow.
Full.
Italy में कौन है बे? Don't count that Emerson as a Chelsea player, please.
No, bro. Jorginho.
Oh, Jorginho, of course. Oh shit. By the way, what a tournament.
And I saw something on Twitter. So there is this quote unquote talk that if Italy win the Euro, that Jorginho could be given the Ballon d'Or.
No. Somebody will beat him to it because he's so slow.
Exactly.
But no, on all fairness, not hating on him, he's had an absolute spectacular Euros. What a player. He's been the main. He and Varati, I think, would be in the best, the best 11 for Euros. I would say, this tournament. And amazing player. But yeah, I think this is going to be a very interesting semi-finals. By the way, Bala, you didn't tell me what your predictions are for the England game.
England-Denmark. I am going with 2-1 England. Like a very, very sketchy and a very edgy 2-1. Like you won't, like probably England will score the second goal, or Denmark will score the first goal in the 80th minute, and last 10 minutes will be like very nail-biting.
I'm going with a 2-0 England.
Oh, okay. One more clean sheet. That will be a record.
Yeah. And then they lose it all in the finals. 7-0 to Spain or Italy.
Great. All right, guys. That's ahead for Euros. We will come back and talk about the semi-finals next episode. But let's move on to South America, Brazil, for our Copa America. And we have, again, all quarterfinals are done. And generally, when you are watching Copa America, you know knockouts have begun. When you see the number of red cards automatically go up. So
Yeah.
in the 4 games, we saw 4 red cards. But the one that clearly takes the award has to be from the Son of God himself.
Yes. Gabriel Jesus turned into Shawn Michaels and Sweet Chin Music. The Chilean player was very lucky not to get decapitated. I've actually, Gabriel Jesus for every international tournament has had some mishap for Brazil. The famous meme of him crying on the stairs, then a red card, then a silly miss in the last World Cup. He's been there for all the wrong reasons for Brazil. I actually, to be honest, don't know what he's doing in the national team. I don't think he deserves the place.
At some level, he reminds me a bit Robinho. But Robinho has a bit of that snobness. Jesus does not have that snobness, but yeah, he's a bit of a wreck on the field.
Yeah, but Robinho for Brazil was really good. He scored a lot of goals. Gabriel Jesus doesn't. He doesn't score goals, period. It's very strange. I think Casemiro has more goals than Gabriel Jesus this season.
That's true.
But yeah, I think it was a great win for Brazil. They got the 1-0, then were 10 men down against a very unpredictable Chilean team, which has obviously, we know, some really good players. But they held their ground, kept maintained, and won that tie, which is a big deal. They'll get a lot of confidence because if you see it in the group stage, they had it easy.
Yeah.
This was their first tough game.
Yeah.
And they came through, so they're going to be full of strength. And they have an easier game compared to the next tie we're going to talk about in the semi-finals, right? So let's move on to Bala. What do you think about your favorite player's country and his performance? Argentina.
Oh, dude, it has to be. The guy has been in fabulous form. Like 4 goals, 4 assists. He's been brilliant. And 2 free kicks out of the 4 goals. I mean, see, nothing new about Messi. He has done this before. But yeah, historically, Argentina have bottled under pressure. So we really don't know what's going to happen. But again, like England, there is one thing that I like about this Argentinian team is they have grown into the tournament. They have become a better team after every game. And that showed in the quarterfinal against Ecuador. They were extremely good. They just
Yeah, and I think the last podcast we were talking about how Lautaro Martinez hasn't showed up, and he did
yeah
in the game against Ecuador. He played a great game. He had scored a goal as well. But I think this is just, it's in the destiny, right? Like Portugal say Ronaldo won it, and that's one thing missing in Messi's career, an international trophy with Argentina. I think it's scripted, like that he has to win one,
yeah
and this might be it. But let's not ignore the tough match that they have. They're
yeah
playing Colombia in the semifinals. Colombia is probably the third biggest team in South America in
yeah
terms of strength. And they also had a tough game. They won in penalties in the quarterfinals. So it's going to be a great game, tight game again. It's
yeah.
very interesting, Bala. And what do you think about this? You associate South American teams to be flary, a lot of great, spectacular goals. But more often than not, these games are very sketchy and, very tight. It's actually in Europe, they're more flamboyance shown in international games than in South America.
So
Why so?
So see, this is what I have noticed in South American football. Again, not trying to sound a little condescending, but the level of tactical detail that they get into a South American game is very less, especially in attack. So they can organize themselves in defense really well, and then they expect the attacking flair to work in itself. So that's why you see a team like Brazil relies a lot on someone like Neymar, because Neymar is the one who will stitch the entire attack together, and he will do it on his own.
Yeah.
And he just needs a supporting cast around him to know where he is going to go, know where he is going to pass, have that connect, quote unquote, connect with him. Same goes with Argentina, same goes with Colombia when you have James Rodriguez, same goes with Chile, you have Alexis Sanchez. So you can see that the way these kind of players that they play for these South American countries. So what happens over a period of time when players get tired and stuff, so then the games become very cagey, very physical. So that's why you don't see that much of flair, and we haven't seen two really good attacking side play against each other yet.
That's
maybe Argentina, Colombia, maybe it's the first time. Again, Colombia, the forward line, even though they have some really big names like Zapata, Muriel and all, but they haven't done really much in this tournament. So it will be an interesting challenge for Argentina, because they have been really good defensively. That's another point that we need to bring in. Christian Romero, brilliant. He has been immense for Argentina in this tournament. And for the first time, I believe Argentina also have a really good goalkeeper. That I was never convinced with that Sergio Romero guy. You cannot be Argentina's goalkeeper if you are the third choice goalkeeper in Manchester United. You can't.
But historically, they've never been known for goalkeepers. It's quite funny, actually, for such a great footballing nation. And so, but yeah, I think this is a very important point you made, and I agree with you. It's that defense that has actually shown throughout the Copa America, because they've been solid. And they've also got one starlet, Rodrigo De Paul, who is become like one of the rising stars and has already, I think, been snapped up by Atletico Madrid.
Yes.
They've got a very strong team who is actually firing at the right time. So I'm saying, like, I'm putting my neck out there and saying Brazil versus Argentina Copa America final. Hello. Woo! That is going to be something. It's been a while.
Yeah, that'll be amazing. Yeah, it's going to be waking up for India-Australia match and watching that game early morning.
Yeah.
Great. Brazil versus Peru again. So the game's going to happen tomorrow morning, 4:30 a.m. Like we are recording now, 5th of July, Monday, 11 p.m. So by the time this episode is out, that game will be over. And yeah, we expect Brazil to beat Peru, and we honestly don't know much about Peru. So we'll end it.
Yeah.
We'll end it there.
Great. You know that Peru's capital is Lima, though.
Yeah, that I know. Peru's capital is Lima. Great. Now, moving on to Speed Point. A first hot news that, at least hot for me, was Patrick Vieira is the new Crystal Palace manager.
I have no idea where that happened. How, what, from where? I don't think Patrick Vieira knew Crystal Palace when he used to play in the Premier League.
अरे लंदन का क्लब है, he will know. पास में ही है.
हाँ, तो लंदन का क्लब है, पर जानना जरूरी नहीं है. But yeah, interesting signing. I think it's an interesting post, like, because you always associated Vieira to be one of those guys who will become one of the great managers after retiring. I think, but Crystal Palace is a tough place to start his Premier League journey, because whatever you say about Palace, they're a solid team. Their fans have certain expectations to give the big four nightmares,
Yeah.
and it'll be up to Vieira to ensure that tradition continues.
Yeah, and Crystal Palace has a very interesting project right now. I mean, for guys who are not aware much about Crystal Palace, they have been this mid-table team ever since 2013-14 season. They will flirt with the relegation for some point of time, and then they'll safely finish somewhere between the 11th and the 15th, pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
Like at one level, this season I thought like let them get relegated. I mean, this is like an extremely unmotivated, like this with the demotivated club, there is nothing to play for, and they almost 15 to 16 of their players are out of contract by the end of this season. I think they're already out of contract, so it's a very interesting rebuilding project for Patrick Vieira and Crystal Palace. But yeah, as all the managerial appointment goes, hope he gets the necessary time to build a team. Let's see.
Yeah.
All right. And talking about transfers, United are getting busy. Camavinga, advanced talks. Varane, advanced talks. I don't know. Suddenly, I don't know. I haven't seen United this busy.
United are in advanced talks with everyone.
Yeah, but
they've always been in advanced talks with everyone. Yeah.
yeah, but this time the news seems to be legit. I mean, the sources seems to be legit. So I don't know. I haven't seen United this active on a transfer window for a very long time. Maybe all those things that the fans did, I don't know. Maybe it made the board to notice.
Yeah, I hope so, because
Great.
they really need some changes. But they got Tom Heaton as the goalkeeper back. They renewed another keeper, the American keeper, I forget his name. They renewed him as well.
Yeah, I forgot his name.
Grant.
Yes.
Grant. Something. Lee Grant. They renewed him, so I don't know what they're going to have 4 goalkeepers, and all of them are pretty good. I don't understand that strategy. But you're right. United are different this time. There's a different vibe about them. They're a lot more serious, actually getting things done and not talking too much, which is good to see. And they've actually made a big signing before Man City have, which is first time in many years.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting. And speaking of transfers, I want your opinion. Gareth Bale, for example, has been very inspiring in terms of footballing, but in the last couple of years, he's actually inspired people to not leave clubs and actually stick around for the salary. And who would have thought he inspired a rival club, Barcelona, and their players to do this? Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Umtiti and I'm talking about Pjanic, who have been politely told by Johan Laporta that please leave. You have 2 years of contract left. I'll tear it up. Just waive off 15 million euros. It's fine. You can go as a free agent. They've said, no, I am not going anywhere. Because Gareth Mama told me that this is the best way to play football. Sit and earn money. So now Barcelona are in this bloody piece of shit situation right now where they cannot seem to sell their players.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
No, I think they'll take the Suarez route if that goes. They'll pay for the player to move out. But yeah, what I heard was Umtiti, there's a definite problem, but what I saw was Pjanic's agent is talking to other clubs. But yeah, selling both of them will be extremely difficult. Pjanic, again, it wasn't even a football signing. It was an accounting adjustment signing. So I feel sorry for Pjanic.
Maybe they'll do the swap again.
Maybe, I don't know. Arthur has become even worse after going to Juventus. Hopefully he revives his career back there. Yeah,
and Trincao, for the people who don't know, Trincao has moved on loan to Wolves with an option to buy for 40 million. I didn't expect that to happen, but Trincao is on the move. Then I think Barcelona have Coutinho to deal with. So a lot of movement has to happen from Barcelona then this season. It's going to be, and obviously the greatest player in the world right now still does not have a contract.
Yeah.
But Barcelona are selling his jerseys on their website. So I don't know what the scene is.
Yeah, but it looks like that is done. They're just waiting for the Copa America to end to announce. Maybe Messi must have asked them not to announce anything until the Copa America is done. I don't know. Some of these things look like a pure PR strategy more than what's happening behind the scenes. Anyways, that's about it for football. Any Wimbledon updates? Any upsets so far, Eeshaan?
Wimbledon, I'll be very honest. I've not kept too much track on what's happening in Wimbledon, but I have updates regarding the Formula One.
Oh.
Which for a lot of people who follow Formula One, I know this is for them. Red Bull, for the first time in their history, have won 6 races in a row. Max Verstappen is now top of the drivers' championship by a mile. This is the dominance that we've been used to seeing from Lewis Hamilton over the last 7 years. So this time, literally, it's for Red Bull to lose, and it's gonna be very exciting to see what happens, because Red Bull have a superior car and now obviously a superior driver. And Lewis Hamilton just renewed for 2 years, just when they are on the down. So it's going to be interesting. So everyone watching Formula One, please do not miss any single race right now. It's like really exciting. Bala, please start watching Formula One.
Yeah.
I cannot see this dumb blank face when I'm talking about Formula One, especially on a podcast called SportsCharcha. Please, come on, Bala. What will happen when I start talking about basketball and baseball?
I'm seriously planning to start watching NBA. I saw ad for the conferences playoffs finals. So I might start getting up early in the morning and start watching that also.
We'll watch together and I will run you through it.
I know certain things. I mean, I know the basic idea of the game. I know fouls and all. But yeah, certain technical terms I might have to acclimatize with.
Introducing Bala Subramaniam. He knows basic ideas of the sport. And what does he say? Not shooting into a basket, but he knows fouls and all. Hence, he has always liked Italian players. Italy has been like more of a defensive kind of guy, right? What do you know about a sport? I know the fouls.
Yeah, I know the rules. I'm saying I know Western Conference.
How many fouls gets you sent out from a game?
I don't know. Like if you get into quiz and all, I absolutely have no idea. See, I have basics to start watching the game with, is what I'm saying.
Okay, fine.
I'm not saying to start watching, I have the basics.
Let's do this next season. When it starts off, Bala will do the introduction for NBA. This is his project.
I remember first time when I started watching football back in 90s, I asked, why are they not carrying the ball like that person who is carrying the ball and run? That's not the game.
That's the situation of Indian football, by the way.
See, that's my point is I can start at that level and reach where I am. So I can do that.
Took 30 years.
No, this time it will be accelerated. Chal. All right, guys. This has been a great chat, and yeah, we are really excited to look forward to the semi-finals games. I hope you are too, and all the best to all your teams. Until the next episode, it's bye from Bala.
Bye, guys. See you. I think our next podcast will be before the finals, I hope, right?
Yes.
So see you before the finals, guys. Take care.
Thank you everyone for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, and also please, like they're literally begging, to rate our podcast on whichever app you're listening to. It not only helps us, but also new listeners to easily find our podcast. You can also reach out to us on Twitter @SportsCharcha. A big shout out to the Jam Room Audio for our theme music. You can follow the Jam Room on Facebook @the Jam Room Audio. Bye.